the page says, hey, here are the modules. Oh, pane number 1 or whatever you're called, here's the modules you need. It says these are the names of the modules you need. Pane number 1 says, oh, okay. Hey, module number 1, you're supposed to go over here. And, oh, what skin do you need? So, what container do you need? So he goes out and says, okay, I need to instantiate the container over here. Instantiates the container, passes the module into the container. The container says, oh, let me draw myself. Oh, hey, module, render yourself. So what happened is instead of the skin doing all of the work, the areas of responsibility for each section has been localized to those sections. Makes it much easier to maintain, much easier to find bugs, and it's just a better all-around way of doing it. How does it work? The same way it did before. To the end user, the effect is non-existent. So this is really an internal change.
Do the old skins still work in 5.0? Or
yes, most of them do. If you're using an old skin in 5.0, what I would, especially if you've got an existing site or something, I would, at least in the current version, I would recommend that you pull in the ASCX file and not interpret it, just to make sure you don't get any artifacts of the change. But yes, it will still work.
Will all the modules in 4.9 work on 5?
I don't know of any that won't. They really spent a lot of trying to make it not break things. There are a few things that break, but very few. And they did a good job, I think, in making some major changes under the hood. I think that's one of the things that a lot of people are a little bit, they look at and say, oh, it's got a new skin, and oh, here's a new capability here, and a new capability there, but I don't see a lot of change. It still does the same things. Well, most of these changes have really been under the hood in anticipation of changes that are coming down the road. A lot of cleanup, a lot of changes in the skinning engine, and because it's moving in a different direction, this type of thing. But in essence, they tried very hard to keep things backward compatible. So in some cases, they're doing 2 things.
what about performance now?
Performance. I haven't used 5.0 on a big site. Okay, I haven't seen any performance issues. If anything, I would say it's just as good or better. I don't see. Well, actually, okay. One of the things that they started doing, one of the things that has happened, 5.0 took a long time to get out. There's no question about that. And during that time, some of the things they had planned for 5.0 moved back into the 4 series. They weren't planning on making anything after 4.5, I don't believe. And then they had some security issues. They had 4 series. And when we're fixing these things, you know, a lot of that's fixed at 5, so let's pull some of that functionality back. And that type of thing can happen. So a lot of the things are still there. You know, some of these functionalities were introduced under the covers for now. But a lot of the things require 5.0 because of some of the changes in the structures underneath the hood. Any other questions on the skin containers? Okay, so those things will continue to work. Last, a few of the basics of that abstract. And we talked about that just a minute ago. The eye actionable, the eye module action, skin action, and my brain is the eye action control, skin control, eye module control. Resources. Power Toys for the Class Designer. I highly recommend that you install that. It gives you some nice tools on the Class Designer, makes it easier to use. You need to go play with the Class Designer when you're playing in DotNetNuke, because you can put classes in and it will show you how they're related. It's very nice, and that's the easiest way to find things. When you go looking for things, when you're looking for resources, the DotNetNuke website, definitely go and look at the blogs. Search the blogs, and then you'll find several people. I love to read Joe Brinkman's blogs. He has a lot of very good, high technical stuff. If you like You know, when you get old, you have these single moments. John Henning, there we go. I knew I'd give him a mention. John Henning, if you're interested in making your front end faster, look cleaner, do better things, you might want to read John Henning's law. He has done, he's been in charge of the client API. How much time do I have? I may get
You have a little bit of time.
What?
You have a
About
little bit of
20
time.
minutes.
Oh, I may have a chance to go back and look at a little bit of the client API. I didn't think I was going to have time. John Henning, the client API, does a lot of stuff. He's been working and now has a template for you to be able to create an Ajax module that has all the hooks in place for you. Very, very nice. So check his blogs out. Google things, and you can contact me if you like. Also, you have a shameless plug for the book, and also my book, Mitch's book, I mean, as well. All right, well, let's go back, since we have time, and talk about the client API for a second.
Darrell, real
Yes.
quick, another good resource for people is .NetNukeBlogs.com.
Yes.
And that's basically a lot of people that blog regularly about .NetNuke. It's all in one single feed, including the .NetNuke core team members.
I didn't think I was going to have time to spend much time on this, so I didn't show this slide. This is a slide I got from John Henning. And the idea is to try to give you an idea of how the client API works. What the client API does is allow your client side to communicate back to the server, and the server to communicate to your client side. Client side is your browser. And that can be problematic at times. What the client API has traditionally done has been to have a hidden field that it passed information back and forth under the hood that you didn't even know about. You were using it sometimes and didn't even know you were, probably, if you were following some of the examples and things. So that type of thing. So what happens is you have different sections that use different things. Now, the new stuff is allowing us to use, with the new version, they're requiring that Ajax be installed. Microsoft Ajax be installed. And with that, you get several pieces of information. One of them is the fact that now we can use some serialization functions that are come with JSON. We use Ajax, we use JSON, and down on the this level at the client browser area, now everybody is starting to use jQuery. All of these are designed in an architectural way to make the client seem more like a Windows client rather than a web client when it comes into it. It acts more like people want it to act. I want to caution you on something as far as development and architecture goes. Remember, you want to put as little of your business objects in your UI as possible. I'll say that again. You want to put as little of your business logic in your UI as possible. A lot of people ignore that. But the bottom line is the more you put, the more of your business logic you put in your client UI, that means the more places you have to change things when your requirements change, when updates come out, or something like that. For instance, let's just say that the common example I use is, let's say your company changes the password requirements, and now your password requirement is that it has to be 9 characters and have 2 special characters, and it was 7. If you have made that check in your browser, you have to go to every place that uses that and change it there. Whereas if it's in your business logic, it means that you get a slower response because it's got to do a post back or at least communicate with the server somehow, but you have less problems with updates. So it's a balancing act. Sometimes you need to put it out there for performance things, but the idea is to put as little out there as possible. We could spend the whole day on the client API. That's the reason I didn't put it in the session plan today. Is anybody specifically